Hey, finally. So,
Finally.
we had to go off air, but luckily that's not the one we're going to be using. So, yeah,
Yes.
so Doctor, as I was saying, it's always an honor to have Dr. Sharon Ali to talk to her. She's a very good friend of mine as well. We talk a lot about everything, including the rain, funnily enough. But she's doing some incredible work in her clinics, and there's so much to talk about always. And I thought the best thing, or what we decided to talk about really today, was the common cold and coughs. And in fact, if you have any questions, please send them through on the chat, and I'll try to read them out as and when.
Wow.
But the topic, if we stay on topic, it's very much to do with the common cold and
Yes.
coughs. So, Dr. Sharon Ali, welcome. Thank you so much for
Thank you so much.
coming on
Thank
this
you.
Insta Live.
Thank you for taking your time for me, Atik. Thank you very much. And I
There's
always
always.
enjoy talking to you.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Um, I can't believe how old I'm looking on the screen, but hey, anyway, hey, so much for that.
No, you're not. You're not.
maybe I maybe I shouldn't be saying that live, but hey.
No, no, no.
um, now, Sharon, you've been doing some amazing work in clinic, and
Yes.
hopefully very soon you will come back on the Homeopathy Health podcast, and we can talk in detail about that. But I was going to ask you for today's Insta Live. Certainly in the UK, a very
Hmm.
bad variant of COVID is going around, or
Yes.
whatever you call it. A
Yes.
virus is going around, and it's very, very bad. And the main sticking symptom seems to be a terrible cough, which actually prevents you from even speaking. And
Yes.
it's such a vicious cough that it's the sensation, I would say, that people feel with that cough is as if you're going to vomit. And when you vomit, the muscles tighten up, the rib cage
Hmm.
begins to hurt, doesn't it? You start getting
Yes.
even intercostal neuralgia because there's so much
Yes.
pressure on the sternum and the chest area. So
Yes.
um, and also I find that people, once they get this cough, they can't stop. It's a spasmodic cough, and it just doesn't
Hmm.
go. And it's really spreading. Actually, there's so many
Hmm.
people have it.
Hmm.
So, what's your advice and guidance?
See, actually, Atik, I think I know as much as you, or maybe less. But I'm just going to share what we have, means what I usually do in my clinic, because, um, of course, here we see a lot more coughs, and we have to make prescriptions quite
Yeah,
fast compared to what, I wish we had the luxury of making those long prescriptions that y'all can do, huh?
hmm,
But here the prescriptions have to be a little quick, and we have to have our ears tuned into the cough. We have to know that, okay, the moment I hear the cough, I'm trying to figure out, where is that cough coming from?
hmm,
Is the patient trying to retch, like exactly what you said? Is there a retching kind of cough? Is it spasmodic because it's here? Is it that they're trying to throw out what is in the postnasal, in the
hmm,
posterior nares? Has it affected the voice box? Has
hmm,
it affected the voice box, and is the larynx affected? So, or is the pharynx affected? Um, is the cough associated with gastric symptoms like acidity or constipation or things like that?
hmm,
And of course, we also look at how did the cough begin? So, what were they exposed to? What were they doing a few days ago? How was life treating them? Things like that. We look at that, and then we give a lot of importance to their thermals and thirst. Now, I find a shortcut in checking the tongue. I find it very easy to prescribe once I see the tongue. So you know that. So what I usually do is a combination where I'll be like, okay, let me hear the cough. The moment I hear the cough, I'll be thinking, is this productive? Can I hear it's spasmodic? Where's the person coughing from? Is it right down? Is it in the chest and the patient can't cough because the patient is tired? Is it up here, but then the patient has to put a lot of effort to go through the negative, the vacuum over here to throw the phlegm out? Or is it, with a loss of voice. So all these things are going on. So I'm trying to visualize where exactly the cough is coming from and why is it coming. And then I check the tongue. And if the two corroborate, I usually am very comfortable in prescribing. Now, I was looking up in the MAC repertory, and spasmodic cough has around 360 remedies. Okay,
Yes.
so it's not like we can really reduce it's very difficult to actually give very accurate prescriptions, and we don't know all the remedies the way we do. Some of the very common remedies we use is your Brinia, tuberculinum, Drosera, Cupromet, Epicac, Hyoscyamus. I use a lot of Cinna for children. It really depends on what I hear. As I said, if there's loss of voice, then you have your causticums and coccus cacti, and you have your there are other remedies for that, right?
Now, can you just explain though? Now, somebody tuning in for the first time, let's say, is going to think, but can't you just give me a standard combination? Why? Because if I've got a virus, then and everybody else, this is a common question. You know where I'm going with this, right?
Yes, I know.
If I have a virus and someone else has exactly the same virus, why can't I just get, I don't know, Rumex or Spongia or Ipecac,
So I'm going to go back to COVID, when we treated COVID, and we ultimately came up with around 48, 50 remedies, which were used most commonly during COVID, and we used it through the COVID-19, the Delta, and the Omicron. So we had it. If I could put it like this, we use it over all the seasons, and we use it through all the ranges of cough, which was seen in COVID. Okay. Some things are extremely important to take, like the emotional state of the patient. So if I got COVID because I was taking care of a loved one and the loved one was sick and we were not sure what would happen, then I needed acid phos. And that is regardless of what kind of thing I would have. Okay, because the cause is the ailments from taking care of, and the effect is on the lung. So it's not like I was taking care of you and I got loose motion. So, it automatically went to acid phos. Now, at the same time, also, it really depends on the triggers, which homeopathy knows, like, cold weather or wet weather, or getting wet in the rain, or getting exposed to a cold draft of air, things like that. So those are also causes. So you cannot really, although everyone is suffering from the same thing, because everyone's constitution is different, the remedy is going to be different. Now, if the same patient is a thyroid patient and has a cough, we can't give the same remedy that a person who's not got thyroid has the cough.
Absolutely.
So it's also your comorbidities that make us change the prescription. If you're a heart patient and you've got cough, we cannot give you the same remedies which we're giving to a child. No, we have to consider that, okay, this patient might go into this complication, and this is something we have to address, and we have to nip this in the bud, and you don't go beyond that. So because we have to look back as well as front before we prescribe, it's extremely important that each patient is seen as a different case.
And that's one of the beauties of homeopathy, because it's very specialized, it's very tailored, it's very individualized. And I think that's such a positive for homeopathy, because not every patient is, here's the prescription, here's the prescription. It's like, well, hang on, let's talk about this, because it's particular to that patient. And that is actually, so some people listening may say, oh my God, yes, but then, this takes time. But the fact is, when things take certain time and it's tailored to you, your constitution, you as an individual, that's what equals the cure, right?
And that's what makes us special as homeopaths.
Yeah.
That is what, Atik, I'm sure you've also gone through this. I usually get cases who say, we've done everything, we've taken our course of antibiotics and we are still not better, and we're taking all these cough syrups and we're taking all this, and yet we really have this persistent cough which is just not going. And that's when they come to us. And what I like telling them is, please remember, you've taken your steroids, you've taken your antibiotics, you've taken your inhalers, and now you've come to me. Don't forget this when I prescribe. I like rubbing it in, because I
I
think
like your
that's what
style.
I think we
I like it. Hey, very assertive, I must say.
I I I push it in, because I think that's what gives me the kick, and the desire to get up in the morning and see a whole bunch of patients through the day, because I know that what we can do as homeopaths is only what we can do.
Hmm.
It's just us.
Yeah, it's so true, isn't it? Now,
Yeah.
tell me, with this subject, with coughs, I mean,
Mhm.
it's, like I said, it's certainly here in the UK, it's really bad. Every second or third person seems to be having a really bad
Mhm.
cough. And they may not even have signs or symptoms of suffering from a virus,
Yeah.
be it, flu or cold,
Yeah.
but the cough is so persistent. So
Mhm.
do go through some of the common remedies that because even though it's individualized and tailored,
Yes.
there
Yes.
are
Yes.
some common remedies that still
Yes.
seem to very much have an affinity for certain key symptoms that patients
Yes.
exhibit.
Yes.
What are your sort of ones that, not for prescription, pure, I'm not saying for prescriptions, but
Yes. Yes.
some
I
of the ones that you
understand
use
what you're
and
saying.
yeah.
I understand what you're saying. So my first go-to remedy is always aconite.
Hmm.
That's one remedy which I give to the patients, and I say, in case you can't reach out to me, take it first, because I know that's the first remedy that I will go to in the first 24 hours, and I know that it works better when it's given immediately. So remedies like aconite, belladonna, arsenic, I let the patients take it without a prescription.
Hmm.
Okay. And I'm okay with them taking it. If I see a patient, and unfortunately, belladonna, arsenic, and what you say, um, aconite are all for chilly patients. They're all for patients who have less tolerance to cold, right? But there are some patients who feel hot, but they get sick easily and they have cold. So for them, it's tuberculinum.
Hmm.
If they have an easy tendency to getting sick. Huh? If they have exposure to cold, dry air, it's aconite. If they have exposure to cold, wet air, it's rhododendron. Okay,
Amazing,
if
isn't
if they,
it? Amazing. I'm just
I
thinking of the
know,
listeners and the ones that will listen back, that, the depth of the remedies is just amazing. And if you're interested in studying homeopathy, honestly, go study homeopathy, because you will learn signatures of remedies. Each remedy is a living remedy. It's not just
yes,
dormant. It has a life in it. It has properties. It has
very
uh,
true.
modalities in it. So it has sensations in it. There's so much. It's amazing. I get very passionate. But hey, back to you.
Yeah. In fact, actually, I was listening to your live with Dr. Asher,
Hmm.
and I messaged him after that. And I was like, it's amazing that you use Dulcamara with the mental symptoms, which I don't really use a lot of Dulcamara with, the mind symptoms.
Yeah.
I love Dulcamara. I am a fan of that remedy, if you ask me, because I have seen crazy things. So I've treated a case of breast cancer with
Hmm.
Dulcamara.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? The patient
Amazing.
had suppressed lactation, and she delivered both her children in the winters, and there was exposure and there was suppression of the milk, and she got, of course, cancer later, and it went with Dulcamara. Then I treated a case of chronic renal failure. That also went with Dulcamara. And I got another kid. And Dulcamara is like the remedy for colds, coughs, fevers, where there's like this running nose, and there's this smarting in the eyes, and everything is just running. You have like a productive cough, you have the myalgia, the body ache,
Yeah.
you're feeling cold, your stools are loose, you're urinating like the blazes, and it works beautifully. It means I didn't realize the depth, as you said. The beauty and depth of homeopathic remedies is only when you actually go, and really read your materia medica and understand. it in its own this thing. So um,
It's interesting,
it's
though,
yeah,
isn't it, that, excuse me, it's interesting that Dulcamara is not that commonly used as a remedy, and yet it's
mhm.
so profound in healing. It's so
And
easy to go through polycrests,
I
isn't it?
wish I
It's so easy, right?
could show you the cases. The guy with the kidney failure, they were trying to insert a probe, a camera to see the insides up to the the ureters,
Mm,
and the probe wasn't going through because of the amount of mucus that was there in the bladder and the ureters, and it was completely thick. And when we gave Dalkamara, we only gave 4 doses of Dalkamara 200, and there was clear urine. He didn't have to change his catheter. It was crazy. It means it's for you to see and believe what I'm telling you, Atik. It's as you said, it's only what you know about the remedy which will help you
mm.
play around with it. It's like an artist and color. The you can play around, and I play with my remedies. The truth is that I play with them. I know them, and they're my friends, and I like you know mixing
I
and
just,
matching.
my
Yeah.
with my very dry sense of humor, just as you said that, I thought, you know what popped into my head? Popped into my head would somebody say, "Who are your best friends?" And you'd say to your friend who's asking, "Well, Dulcamara is really good, and Belladonna," and they say, "What kind of names are those?" And Aconite. I love Aconite. But there's a lot of truth to that for us homeopaths, right? They are
Yeah,
what you've said is so nice and beautifully said, because they are our best friends, right?
yeah,
I mean,
there
I leave home
are.
with aconite in my pocket, with arnica and carbo veg. Those are my three ones. And
Yeah.
they're in my
Oh,
pocket.
that's
But it's
nice.
a strange thing to
That's
carry
it.
with you, right?
Yes.
Nobody carries like remedies generally, right? And when
They're your
somebody's
friend.
sick, it's the things we do, right? And but
Yes.
that is also our commitment to healing, right? And to
Yeah.
helping people.
Very true.
Otherwise, why would you do it? Yeah.
Very true.
Sharon,
Okay, I
there's a
have another
question.
tip for you.
Okay, okay.
Another
There's a
tip
question
for
that
you.
popped up.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to forget it because it will scroll up. Um,
Uh-huh.
okay, I think it's past. I'll try and find it and then I'll
Okay.
read it out to you. But do carry
There's
on.
there's there's another tip I can give you. So for these patients who come post antibiotics, if they've been there, done that, and they've done whatever they had to, there are a group of remedies which you can think of. Of course, I further differentiate them, and then I make sure that the remedy I'm
Mm,
choosing is right. But some of the remedies which don't come up in repertorization and they are still very, very effective. One is Nux vomica for cough, Abratanum for cough.
mm.
You have Tubavier. Now, Tubavier is also an excellent remedy. It means I use it a lot. There's Ars iode, which is again post-influenzal cough. Okay, and you have natrum salicylic. Now, these remedies are so natrum salicylic is actually paracetamol, right? It's your aspirin, which
Yeah.
you yeah. So it antidotes the side effects of that. And if you see, one of the side effects of aspirin is asthma.
Don't
Okay,
forget.
so those who take
Um,
a lot of aspirin,
don't forget
yeah.
Eupatorium.
Oh, oh, I love
It's such
Eupatorium.
a brilliant remedy, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah, they have a particular cough. Do you know it? And I have a photo of a patient coughing like that. He was on his knees and hands. He was actually on his hands and knees
Mm.
to cough, and that's a typical Eupatorium cough. Yeah, so that makes them feel better,
How
and they're usually again
amazing!
chilly.
How amazing!
Yeah.
Kim Alia was on episode 51 of my Homeopathy Health podcast, and
Uh-huh.
he was talking about Constantine Herring,
Mm.
and he has he did he was talking about the diagnostic method that Constantine Herring taught, and I'm sure you know about it, but that just
I
what
love
you were just
him.
saying now about hands and knees and that cough, and how Constantine Herring also wrote about how the remedies are not just physical manifestations of their characteristics of the remedies, but
Yeah,
also the mental and emotional. And it's
very
so
true. Very
fascinating,
true.
and it's so deep for those who think homeopathy is just plants. My God, it's so much more, isn't it? Hey, it's so deep.
I have something to share with you about this. Recently, I was reading The Theory of Chronic Diseases and the foreword written by
You found you
Constantine
find the
Herring.
best books to read, don't you?
Yeah.
The really heavy ones, aren't they? These are the really deep ones, you know? Hey?
Well, that's where homeopathy comes
Yeah.
from. So, but I have to tell you something. This is like, so, so Herring, first of all, I cried at the end. His ode to Samuel Hahnemann is the most deep, full of, I don't know, it's a different level of adoration that he had for Hahnemann. And his depth of, as a human being, that's Herring, as well as Dr. Hahnemann, comes out in that foreword. And
But you know
he talks
why,
about
don't you? You know, one of
Hahnemann.
the reasons why that is because initially, as everybody who knows homeopathy knows, he was his focus was to destroy homeopathy. And you know, when you hate something
Yes,
or dislike something, or you're so much focused on making sure that you get rid of it, and it changes the perception totally of what you thought it was or what you've been led to believe it is. And all of a sudden you think, oh my God, it's not that at all, because you've experienced it like Herring did. You know, that
yes, yes. Yeah,
naturally leads to that inner love and that awe that you mentioned, you know, and you think, oh
yeah.
my God, you know, this is actually what it is.
He has written an amazing forward. And in fact, his law of cure, the direction of cure, is there in the forward. And he's also mentioned. So Herring has written. So what I did is, because we don't get a lot. Like, you have a book that Kent wrote. You have lots of books that Kent
Mm,
wrote. You have Porrick. You have Clark. But I don't see any literature that floats around of Constantine Herring,
mm,
not the way it is over here.
yeah.
So what I realize is that if you really want to know Herring, you read Pura and you read Theory of Chronic Diseases, because the actual remedies which were proven as antisoric, one of the main provers was Herring. So
Mm.
that's the best way to go and see, from the source, what exactly homeopathy stands for. And he's done an amazing job, I must
You,
say.
you know, you mentioned that, and just I was just thinking as you said that, and with James Taylor Kent, for example, and you know
Mm-hmm.
the philosophy
Mm-hmm.
of homeopathy, and when you actually read that book, for those who haven't, let's say, who are homeopaths and who haven't read it, it's so deep and so
Yeah.
profound. And you know,
Yeah.
when we hear that, oh, it, you know, people are interested in homeopathy and they're saying yes, but what is it? And you think, my God, it's so difficult sometimes, isn't it, to put that
Mm-hmm.
all into like a sentence or a paragraph, because the philosophy is so deep and so profound, isn't it? It's like
Very
literally
true.
what we're talking about here, for example, with remedies, is that remedies have their signature and they manifest in
Yes.
an individual, or you see that remedy, the picture of that remedy, the same
Yeah.
frequency is exhibited in the patient, the same
Yeah.
characteristics, the mannerisms, the
Very
symptomology, and
true.
even the pathology, right? And when you
Mm-hmm.
match frequencies, they resonate, don't they?
Yeah.
And that's the vital force, and all of a sudden you have something called a cure, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
but that's so deep, and it's just astounding. Every day I'm fascinated, you know, and by what homeopathy can achieve, what it's going to, and what it continues to achieve, you know. It's so multidimensional, isn't it, Sharon?
Very true. That's what, as I said, when I saw Dr. Usher talking about the mental state of Dal Kamara, I was like, oh my goodness, there's so much we don't know, because that's really how, means I don't even look at Dal Kamara like that. I know it from a very pathological point of view. And It's not, I mean, we get results this way, we get results that way, we get results in so many ways, you know. You don't, it's not like you have to have one particular way and that's the only way that you can practice. Everyone has to find their own niche and everyone has to find what resonates with them. And I think that's why, like, your, you know, the effort you're making in this, you know, potpourri.
Well, it smells nice.
It does. Yeah, it's so
It
different.
smells homeopathic.
Yes. Yeah.
My
Well,
objective, as you very well know, we're good friends, so you know. But for those tuning in and those who will listen back, of course, it's to promote everything, which includes everybody, to do with homeopathy, and it's to raise that flag high, you know, of
yeah.
homeopathy. Every homeopath is incredible, and I always use this analogy that we are all artists. We are given one canvas or the same canvas, the same
Mhm.
palette of colors, the same paintbrush,
Mhm.
and we'll all come out with our own masterpiece. That's the art, isn't it? That's
Very true.
from the science to the art, and every homeopath is amazing. You know, I
Yeah.
applaud everybody because what they're doing is, I mean, Sharon, at the end of the day, somebody who gets up, someone like you, and says, "I want to help people." I mean, what can get
Yes.
better than that, right? Isn't that the
Very
best
true.
service to humanity?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 I'm just going back through all the chats that have come here,
Okay.
and I want to answer some of the things. There was one person who asked, what remedy do you give to end the phlegm? Yeah. So
Okay.
one thing is there, and as a rule, I try being a minimalistic prescriber.
Mm.
Okay. So if the person has got a good appetite and the cough is not troubling them, but they have a cough, I don't treat it. Okay. At the same time, you can go for biochemic remedies like Kali Moor and Kali Sulph. Kali Moor has white phlegm. Kali Sulph has yellow phlegm.
Mm.
You can also go for natrum ars, which is to stop the cold if it continues for long. So there are remedies which you can use to close the prescription. These are remedies we use at the end. So when I see a patient is completely cured and I want the patient to leave me, there are certain remedies I use to end the
Mm.
case. I end them with giving them remedies for, you know, a past history, whatever they've suffered from. If they've had a fall, if they've had an accident, I will think of giving them arnica to close the case in case there is any injury which might turn cancerous later or might cause, you know, complaints later. So
Yeah.
I try to even cover the things that they need, and miasmatically or because of the past history that they have. So natrum ars is one remedy which I give to close a case, and usually these cases will be if the cough or the cold has been there for very long, okay, to help them recover. Another remedy which I use to improve the appetite after if they've had a cough for very long and then they've not regained their appetite, I use hydrastis.
Wonderful remedy.
Uh, yeah, I use hydrastis. There's also a very nice remedy which you can use for, you know, ginkgo biloba. You can try that. Another remedy you can use is Avena
Mm.
sativa post-influenza. Yeah,
Do you
those
use
are the
alfalfa?
ones I would
Is
use.
alfalfa readily available in India?
Which one?
Alfalfa tonic.
Yeah, I use alfalfa, but then alfalfa's indication is a little
Mm.
different from Avena
Yeah.
sativa, huh? So alfalfa, I use it if the patient wants to get hungry and you
Oh,
know, wants and
Dr.
they
Usher has joined. So,
oh, say hi to him.
Dr. Usher, welcome. Pleasure that you've joined for, I know you're very busy and you are going off to a conference, but we were just talking about you actually, Dr. Usher Sheikh, about Dalkamara. And so, yes, thank you. And welcome.
Yeah.
You know, I
Is there any other
found,
question?
interestingly enough, Sharon, I found that ginkgo is very, very good in tincture form
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
cerebral blood flow
I give
after a
that in
stroke.
tincture.
So post-stroke, it works
Yeah,
wonders, you know, really effective. And not many people,
yeah.
I find, use that post someone having a stroke.
So there's a case of Samuel Hahnemann, where which is written in Rima Handley's book, where there's a patient who fell off a horse, okay, and had a head injury, and he was treating them. So he did this amazing combination of arnica alternating with sulfur, okay, and so he was treating the cause and he was treating the miasm, and he was treating the cause and he was treating the miasm, and then he saw some other complaints, and then he took arnica out of the equation and he put opium. So what I found, and I use this in a lot of my cases of stroke and head injury. Yeah? So I don't just give them arnica. I give them a combination of, like, in alternation or one after the other. I will give them arnica and sulfur.
You are a master
That works.
homeopath, you know.
No, I'm not. I'm just a student. Yeah.
You know, it's been a real delight. You know, I've just sent an invite to Dr. Asher because he's listening. I just thought it'd be nice if he popped up. I thought I'd get that out to everybody. I
I
don't know if
want you
he's.
to get my teachers on the podcast.
Yes,
I'll be very soon asking them to come.
please do, please do. I have a slot
Yeah.
ready for them, as we've discussed. You know, I'm very much looking
Yes,
forward to that as well.
yes.
Do
I'm
tell
very
us about
keen.
the gentleman that recently passed away. I know that it's some
Yes,
very sad news, and for those
yes.
listening who aren't aware.
So I was graced. I was very lucky. I was blessed to have him as one of my teachers when I was studying the certificate course with Dr. Shankaran, and then afterwards I also did the fellowship there after MD. So I did my master's and then I did the fellowship course. And during that time, we got to have quite a few classes from Dr. Banerjee, and it was very. He taught us a lot of remedies of cancer, and there used to be this amazing class that he used to hold, where he and Dr. Sarkar used to discuss cases, and he would give his insights, and Sir would give his insights, and then we as students could pick and choose what gelled with us. And as a human being, he was very humble. He was very giving. He was very, very open to teaching, very open to, if he didn't know, he said he didn't know. If he knew, he was willing to share. And that was the beauty of him. He was always there. He was sick for quite some time. So in a way.
It's very sad, and you know, within homeopathy as a community, as a worldwide community, it always resounds when someone of that stature can, you know, when they let me rephrase, when someone of that stature passes away, because it's a real loss, you know, to the community. But may the work that he did carry on, of course, and I'm sure that it will do through practitioners even like yourself, of course.
He taught us a remedy called plutonium nitricum. And I'll never forget that because I used that in a case of mine. It was a remedy he taught us for post-radiation. And it was quite effective.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's Sharon, it's been an absolute pleasure for this. And I was saying off air, I don't know if we were live when I said it, but we're going to do a 3-part special, okay? So you choose the next topic. I think let's talk about the tongue in parts 2 and 3.
Let the audience choose. I would really like to know, because we can talk anything. I keep asking you. I say, what should we talk about this time? And then you were like, So I would love to hear from what the others would like to know. Like, now there was someone who asked about orchitis, but orchitis is very, very, you can't do it without knowing symptoms. The entire psychotic miasm comes in orchitis. So every antipsychotic will be a remedy for orchitis. I can't really, hair fall.
Hair fall, yeah.
The hair fall is easy.
Okay.
Hair fall, I can tell you in short right now. So hair fall, what we do is we check for, first thing is we check is nutrition. Okay. So the first thing I'll do is I'll check their diet and their hemogram. I'll see if they've got the right amount of hemoglobin, B12 and D3. I'll make sure that they're having the right amount of selenium, omegas, because these are the first building, and protein, of course. So you have to have that. Then I break down hair fall into male pattern baldness, female pattern baldness, alopecia areata, alopecia universalis, and infections. Now, if there are infections, then you have to treat the infection. So dandruff is also an infection. Then you have to diversify dandruff. You have to see whether it is seborrheic, non-seborrheic, what kind of dermatitis is the patient suffering from, and treat accordingly. Homeopathy has beautiful remedies depending on the kind of dandruff you have. They have yellow scale for kalis. You have white fluffy dandruff for thuja. You have, so there the silicia and thuja is seborrheic dandruff. Natrum sulf is seborrheic dandruff. So there are remedies you use for the root cause. If it is an infection, then if there are hormonal causes, you look at the thyroid, you look at diabetes, you treat the root cause, and then the hair fall goes. So it really depends. Once you do the testing, then you decide. One very good remedy, which is there for hair fall with constipation or with a past history of jaundice, with a past history of typhoid, please try acid phos, Eclipta alba, and Sorinum. Anything
Brilliant.
else? I think we've done, and the hair fall is, it's as simple as that. There's nothing really much. Hormonal issues like thyroid and PCOD.
That's for
Nisha?
part two. That's for part two. You have to leave something.
That's gonna be
You have to leave something.
Yeah.
Now, if someone wants to contact you, do share. How can they contact you?
I'm on Insta. They can send me a message here. That will be the easiest way for them to contact me right now. They can come onto your platform and look for me.
Brilliant.
I'll be on your Insta too.
Yes, you are, and you will be, and you'll be on YouTube, on my YouTube channel as well, very soon.
Well, I thank you, Atik. You're really getting me places.
So I look forward to talking to you again very soon for part two, and we will decide a topic. There's a few things that have come up, so we'll look back and we'll try and agree on something that's very sort of in this moment as such, you know?
Yes, I would really like someone else to tell us what they want, because that will give us,
yes,
you know,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But if you have a topic in mind, again, please go to my Instagram.
Hi, Dr. Rihanna. Sorry. Tinnitus. Yes, tinnitus is also very, very, it is not easy, but it's very, it's very possible. Cancer it's a huge topic.
Yeah. I don't think
Poonam,
we
you'll
could cover
have
that on a live. No, it's too huge.
You'll have to differentiate it. Yeah, you
But I
have to
would say
differentiate it.
to the listeners and those listening back, if you have any questions, just message me on my Insta, and then we can, or any topics. Sorry, was the point, and then we can discuss, and hopefully we will cover that for you. Dr. Rihanna says hi, Sharon.
Yes, Rihanna, I will do tinnitus for sure. Hi. We'll cover it together.
Love lives.
Your complaints. Yes, actually, recently, actually, we've been facing a lot of patients who have ear complaints, and I think homeopathy has a lot with both types of deafness, your sensory neural and bone loss deafness, and we have amazing remedies. There's even for deafness, even for blindness, there are beautiful remedies in homeopathy. For those who want to, they should try, studying these in detail, because it really changes the life of the patient.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So thank you very much. Absolute honor and pleasure. I'm so happy you came on, and I look forward to part 2 and part 3.
And part 7 and part 100. We'll keep in touch.
We will. So thank you, and I'll bye-bye for now, I suppose.
Yes,
All right.
yes. Bye for now.
Take
Bye for
care.
now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.